Urgent Raiders fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything Raiders Insider Projects 3. Coveted offensive prospects in NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders have drawn plenty of praise for their decisions this offseason under new general manager John Spytek. While the team did lose half of their defensive starters from last offseason, they replaced those players with a handful of cheap assets in free agency who can still get the job done. While the team did add quarterback Geno Smith via trade the offense is far from complete at this stage of the offseason. On Friday, Vincent Bonsignore of the Las Vegas Review-Journal released a mock draft in which the Raiders solved this issue by adding Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty, Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden III, and Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe in the first 3 rounds. Jeanty had a historic year for the Boise State Broncos in 2024, rushing for 2,601 yards and 29 touchdowns in his junior season. He finished second in the Heisman Trophy, voting behind Colorado's Travis Hunter, and would fill the massive chasm that the Raiders have at running back. Burden had a bit of a production decline last year for the Tigers, but he is one of the youngest prospects in the draft and has a high ceiling as a prospect. Milroe's story is similar to Burden's as he regressed last year under a new coach but has all the physical tools to be a great NFL quarterback. The Raiders need a top-flight wide receiver to pair with Jakobi Meyers and could benefit from adding a young quarterback to learn the ropes under Geno Smith as well. This trio of players could provide massive benefits for Las Vegas for years to come and change the outlook of the franchise. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Raider Nation news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Does an Amari Cooper reunion make sense for Raiders? The Raiders still need WR help. Now that Stefon Diggs has signed a contract with the New England Patriots, there are no longer #1 wide receiver options available in free agency. That's a problem for the Las Vegas Raiders as they're very thin at the position. Jakobi Meyers is an excellent WR2, but probably more of a low-end WR1. The only chance the Raiders have at adding a bona fide #1 wide receiver now is striking gold in the draft or swinging a big trade. Now that Stefon Diggs has signed a contract with the New England Patriots, there are no longer #1 wide receiver options available in free agency. That's a problem for the Las Vegas Raiders as they're very thin at the position. Jakobi Meyers is an excellent WR2, but probably more of a low-end WR1. The only chance the Raiders have at adding a bona fide #1 wide receiver now is striking gold in the draft or swinging a big trade. Until that happens, it would be wise for the Raiders to add to their wide receiver depth. Out of the free agents available, the most appealing options are Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen. The latter was the #4 pick of the Raiders in the 2015 NFL Draft and got off to a red-hot start. He made the Pro Bowl in each of his first 2 seasons and looked like the next great Raiders wide receiver. However, the team and fan base quickly turned on him. He was plagued by drop issues and just never seemed that excited to be a Raider. In hindsight, that's very much just his personality, but former head coach John Gruden wasn't vibing with him and traded him to the Dallas Cowboys. Cooper was very good for several seasons after the Raiders traded him, but at 30 he's slowing down. He had a career-low 547 yards in 2024. That said, he did have to split the season between 2 teams. In 2023, he had 1,250 receiving yards. 30 isn't that old, so Cooper may have another 1,000-yard season in him in the right situation. He may not be interested in coming back to the Raiders considering how things ended, but the only player left on the team from his time there is Kolton Miller, and it's a completely different coaching staff. It would make a lot of sense for the Raiders to bring him back for another season. At worst, he'd be an elite WR3 for the Raiders. Ashton Jeanty drops eye-opening take on Raiders draft rumors. Ashton Jeanty can see himself going to the Raiders, who are favored to draft him. As Ashton Jeanty prepares for the 2025 NFL Draft, all he is hoping for is to land with the right organization. With his future now dependent on the fate of the draft, Jeanty acknowledged that he would not mind going to the Las Vegas Raiders, who have expressed interest in him. The Raiders, who have the #6 pick of the draft, have not made their affinity for Jeanty a secret. When asked about his thoughts on the team, Janti called Las Vegas a great organization, which he just mentioned was important to him seconds before. I think most importantly, you want to go to the right fit, the right organization, Janti said. To Jay Trust of the Boise-based KTVB News, it's about being with the right fit, just like Boise State was the right fit, even though I chose it. Hopefully the team that chooses me knows him the right fit. The Raiders are a great organization. I know they can use a running back. They got that nice pick, number 6, so we'll see what happens. It's been great meeting with them. Janti is unsurprisingly the consensus top running back of the class. North Carolina's Amari Hampton is also expected to be taken in the first round, but well outside of the top 10. Janti is the only player of the position expected to hear his name called early. Should the Raiders take Janti, he would further the team's offseason offensive overhaul. After signing Pete Carroll as head coach, Las Vegas added Geno Smith and Alex Kappa to change the entire roster outlook. With more moves still to come, the team has already significantly improved from what it was just months ago. The Raiders are the betting favorites to draft Janti on most sportsbooks. The odds are lined at 105 on FanDuel Sportsbook. The Chicago Bears have the second best odds at 140, with the Dallas Cowboys a distant third at 650. Aside from the Raiders, some see the New England Patriots to be sneakily interested in Janti at number 4. The Patriots did not add a running back in free agency, leaving just Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson returning in the backfield. Neither was serviceable in a heat 2024, making it likely they address the position in the draft. Regardless, Janti is the heavy betting favorite to be the first running back taken of the draft. The odds of that prop vary, but all are over 1,000. Raiders draft 2025. Will Johnson is a prototypical Pete Carroll cornerback. Michigan star checks off all the boxes Las Vegas new head coach seeks in defensive backs. Pete Carroll certainly has a type when it comes to cornerbacks for his football team, big and fluid, that have the ball production to match. Michigan's Will Johnson fits the mold of a prototypical Carroll cornerback. Standing at 6'2" and 194 pounds, this Wolverine picked off 2 passes this past season for Michigan, both returned to the house for touchdowns, and has 9 career picks and 3 pick sixes over the course of his 3-year stint. Carroll's Las Vegas Raiders certainly can use a takeaway artist like Johnson. In fact, the only non-qualifier in terms of Johnson fitting Carroll's archetype for a cornerback is he has a shorter arm length, 18 inches. During Carroll's 14-year run with the Seattle Seahawks, the team traditionally eyed corners with 32-inch arms or higher. By the numbers, Will Johnson, cornerback, Michigan 2024, 6 games, 14 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 interceptions, both returned. For touchdowns, 3 passes defensed career, 3 seasons, 20-22-4, 32 games, 68 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 9 interceptions, 3 returned for touchdowns. 10 passes defensed, but in every other aspect, Johnson fits the mold. How he fits has a highly instinctive cornerback who is an ideal fit for the kind of defense Raiders defensive coordinator Patrick Graham runs, while Carroll, a defensive-minded head coach, will undoubtedly sprinkle in his own philosophy to meld. With Graham's Johnson's read and react skill set he displayed with the Wolverines is elite. Las Vegas landing a cornerback who can determine pre-snap looks and communicate with fellow defenders would help Graham's defense tremendously, and Johnson has the ability to diagnose and spread the word. Combine the mental aspect with the physical toolbox at Johnson's disposal, and it's easy to see why NFL teams covet a prospect of his type. The combination of size, length, football intelligence, and versatility allow teams to deploy Johnson in a variety of schemes and ways. Has not strictly a man-press or zone cornerback. The foundation is there for a CB1 who shuts down one side of the field by being a takeaway specialist that quarterback avoid, like former Raider Nnamdi Asomugha. Thus, it's no surprise to hear the Raiders set up a top 30 visit for the talented Michigan prospect. Some may find 6th overall to the Raiders too high, but Las Vegas' depth at the position isn't ideal. Then again, some of Carroll's biggest hits at cornerback were in later rounds: Richard Sherman, 5th, 2011, Brian Maxwell, 6th, 2011, Jeremy Lane, 6th, 2012, Tariq Woolen, 5th, 2022. Strengths: with the ideal frame, Johnson is a very fluid defender. For his size, he's able to backpedal and turn his hips smoothly to mirror receivers, and he can bully smaller wideouts. When tasked with zone coverage, his anticipation and route recognition jump out immediately as he showcases veteran-like football. IQ? Johnson shows the ability to dart on throws and make a play on the ball in flight, and when asked to press his assignment, the cornerback uses his length to expertly disrupt timing and being the ultimate nuisance to receiver and quarterback alike. Johnson's ability to use the sideline as an extra defender is a huge plus, as that type of intelligence and leverage offer shutdown corner qualities. He made some of his biggest collegiate plays on the biggest stage, the college football playoffs, namely showcasing high-pressure situations bother Johnson none. Johnson was so impactful that Michigan had him travel with the opposition's top receiving option to limit what the opponent could do. Weaknesses: opportunistic quarterbacks and receivers have taken advantage of Johnson's high football IQ with double moves. Johnson does have a penchant to peek in the backfield looking for interceptions, leaving him vulnerable, and this doubly hurts, as Johnson's recovery speed doesn't match his straight line speed. To put it in current Raiders terms, Jack Jones is often susceptible to the same thing, for example. Because Johnson's recovery speed doesn't quite sync with his straight line speed, the Wolverines' cornerback can get too grabby, and in the NFL, that'll lead to penalties or worse, getting torched for a big gain or touchdown. Related silver linings, Jacorian Bennett stepping up. While Johnson does show a willingness to get down and dirty in run support, he needs to be more physical at the next level against pro-level blockers who are both fast and strong. He'll also need refinement when it comes to form tackling, as Johnson shows up as an arm tackler too frequently, leading to whiffs. Ironically, he'd fit right in with a Las Vegas team who missed tackles frequently in 2024. Projection: considered a top 10 talent in the 2025 NFL Draft, Johnson is projected to go early, to mid-first round. However, teams may be wary due to Johnson only playing 6 games due to a painful turf toe injury. Johnson also recently suffered a hamstring injury training for Michigan's Pro Day, which sidelined him from working out. He is scheduled to have a private workout on April 14th, according to ESPN. It was kind of just something that happened when I got back from my toe injury. In early January, Johnson told the Detroit Free Press about the injury. When you're doing the training we're doing like this, it's pretty intense, so just trying to run as fast as I can, and Hammy wasn't ready for that yet. Taking all that into consideration, Johnson could go anywhere in the first round. A team to keep an eye on in terms of Johnson: the Los Angeles Chargers. Not only was Jim Harbaugh Johnson's coach at Michigan, but the Bolts have a need at cornerback, and with the team picking 22nd overall, Los Angeles could either wait for Johnson to potentially fall or trade up to snare the talented corner. Now, Raiders fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Raiders. I'll be back any moment with more Raider Nation news.